Hi guys, welcome to our Green Week BSU Sustainability podcast. This week we will be aiming to raise awareness on sustainability and key aspects of sustainability, something which unfortunately due to the pandemic has kind of taken a little toll due to the nature of virus and spread. And so this time we want to bring back that conversation around sustainability, raise awareness, get that momentum going. And we're here joined with Lucy, who works at the University of Brighton. Obviously, Brighton has a huge mission to, core values around sustainability, and there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes often that as a staff, a student, we forget about. So Lucy's going to walk us through the key things that go on behind the scenes around sustainability at the University of Brighton. So Lucy, how are you doing?
Really good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Amazing. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the department you work in at the university and really just your job role?
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for having me. So I'm environmental officer currently in the sustainability team, and I've been working for the university for about 6 years now. And I started in a graduate sustainability role. I live near Eastbourne with my husband James, who also studied at Brighton. He's a physio, and our cat Alfie, who likes to make appearances, so you might see him today. The sustainability team is part of estate and facilities management, and that department is responsible for management of the university's campuses and facilities. And the sustainability team, which I'm part of, is here to help us do this as sustainably and reduce our environmental impact as much as we can in things like aiming to reduce energy, carbon emissions and waste.
I know the university signed the declaration this week as well, which is really positive. So can you tell us a few projects, so current projects or previous successful projects that have been that you've been working on and their aims?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you kind of already alluded to in the beginning, this last year has been a challenge for everybody, but we have been progressing in quite a few areas of our sustainability work. We managed last year to add and increase our cycle facilities across the campuses, including moving some shelters. So we've got more sheltered cycle accommodation on campus, and installation of an outdoor bike pump at the Falmouth Sports Centre and a tool stand at the City campus. And these facilities will all be available for all cyclists, and it encourages cyclists to come to campus. And if you get a flat tyre or just need to adjust something on your bike, then those facilities are there to help you. We've also continued to run our environmental award, which recognises dissertations and final year projects which address an environmental issue. It's run twice a year to coincide with the summer and winter graduations, and whilst these graduations obviously haven't been possible in person this year, we did still run the award. It's a brilliant way to recognise the fantastic student work being done across all disciplines, and it's got a really great cash prize of £200, so it's well worth applying if you have done a piece of work on an environmental theme. And the next round will be opening in the spring for those students who will be graduating this summer. One of the other areas we've been progressing is reviewing our bin and recycling facilities signage. We have a really ambitious target of recycling 75% of our waste, and we're currently around 50%. So reviewing our signage and making it easy to understand and including any new items which can now be recycled, which they couldn't be before, is a way that we really hope that we can bring that percentage up. And we're also considering specific bins for hot drinks cups in certain areas, such as our catering outlets, as this has a real potential to decrease the contamination in bins from hot drinks. So you can think about lots of liquid that goes into our recycling bins that can cause contamination and mean that those bits can't be recycled. And then some other projects. My colleague Doug has been supporting a really fantastic student-led project from the Student Society EcoSoc for our campuses to become hedgehog friendly. It's a team of students and staff from the university been meeting and taking actions from the accreditation to encourage and support habitats for hedgehogs on our campuses. And we're really excited to hear the outcome of that. They submitted for the award a couple of weeks ago. And then finally, probably the more boring things, we continue to do all the administrative tasks that we're required to do each year, such as reviewing our energy uses and carbon emissions and waste data. And we have to collate that each year. And it really helps us understand if we're meeting our targets and objectives, and allow us to plan for future projects.
That's brilliant. That's really, really good to hear. What's been your favourite project? Just, what's been a kind of personal project to you that you gets you excited and gets you all motivated around sustainability?
I think it's hearing from students. We've had a couple of students get in touch over the last year about certain projects, about things that they're interested in and want to work on. And sometimes it's not always possible to get them going straight away, particularly in the last year, but it really, really encourages me that students are getting in touch and saying, I've seen this and I want to do it and I want to help do it. Because it shows that there's enthusiasm and that they care, and they've seen something that they want to make a difference. And I'd always encourage students to get in touch with us and say, this is something that I'd like to do, or can you support me in doing it, because we're always keen on doing that.
That's really, really good to hear. There you go. You heard it from Lucy herself. So do get in touch with her. So we're really excited to see the progress of the big build. Are there any sustainability features you're also excited to see? I know that, for instance, I was there a couple of weeks ago, actually, and it looks so different. Moulsecoombe just doesn't look like Moulsecoombe anymore. It looks more like Manhattan. So, are there any sustainability features you're really excited to see within this massive project?
You're so right. It does look like Manhattan. It's amazing. I think we're all going to be so surprised when we get back onto being on campus how much has changed. And it's going to be a great new space for students and staff and anyone coming to our campuses. One of the sustainability features that's included in the development is planting over 300 new mature trees, which will not only make the campus feel really nice, especially in that area where it can feel quite grey, but it really adds to our biodiversity of the campus. So I'm really looking forward to that. And one of the first exciting things that was completed as part of the development was the new car park, which has a cycle parking facility on the ground floor. This is an amazing facility. It has over 300 cycle parking spaces, including lockers and showers, and just makes cycling to campus so much more attractive. You don't have to carry around your helmet. You can put it in a locker and it's accessed with your uni card. So for both students and staff, it's really nice and easy. There will also be solar panels on the roof of the car park, which provide electricity to the electric vehicle charging points in the car park. It's a really great sustainable concept, and I'm just looking forward to kind of seeing that in action, because everything's in place at the moment. And then kind of really key part of the build is that all buildings are built to BREEAM excellent standard, and BREEAM is a rating on how sustainable buildings are. So this means there are many, many more features incorporated across the build in areas like energy, transport, water, waste and materials that I could talk for hours about how they're incorporated, but just the building having that standard means that we know that it's been built to that sustainability standard.
Do you think this is going to provide a lot of students interested in sustainability across sciences and environmental and technology courses the opportunity to really, connect with this campus? I think campus is such an important part of a student's, experience. And I think that, personally, I can only imagine how many projects and dissertations are going to come out of this, because it will give students the opportunity to, to actually, like I said, connect with, the campus and their final year project, and actually do some studies around this big build, that's been going on for so long. So, and I think, a question really for you is how important do you think campus is to students and to that wider student experience?
Oh yeah, campuses are so important. I used to work and I studied at the University of Exeter, and that has kind of a slightly different feel to Brighton, because you're based on one campus, and making students feel that they're part of that campus and they're making a difference, they can get involved with it, researching, being part of changes that are made is so important. And this build will really create that that feeling that we might not currently have on the campus. We've got that central space. It's going to be really exciting. Once the bridge is in that links the two sides of the road, I think that will really change things. I love the campus as it is at the moment. There's certain parts that you love. There's little hidden away bits. There's a garden at Cockcroft, which has got a really lovely space you can look from the library over into, and kind of people forget about that. So I think the campus as it is, it's got lots of great spaces, but this is going to kind of bring everything together and make it much more cohesive.
Exactly. And what opportunities and challenges do you think there are regarding sustainability at the University of Brighton at the moment?
There's so many opportunities at the university to enhance our practices to be more sustainable. Really exciting. Literally just yesterday, we are advertising for 4 new sustainability roles in the sustainability team. This really shows that the university wants to progress in this area and investing in doing that. And I was really pleased to see the university declare a climate emergency in January 2020. And that really showed that the university was saying, yes, we understand and we recognise there is a climate emergency and we're going to do something about it. And recently, just this week, the university joined the People and Planet Fossil Fuel Declaration, which was an additional update to its ethical investment policy to say that it won't directly invest in fossil fuels and it won't do in the future. Which is a really committed statement for the university to make. And both these things show how committed the university is to the wider impact of climate change and not just our physical estate. So my role and the work that the sustainability team do based in estates is very much focused on the physical state. But all this extra work, particularly around ethical investment, is looking at the university as a whole and saying, actually, our investment practices do have an impact on the climate, and I think that's incredible and something that the university is going to be looking at more. Our next challenge is understanding how we'll reach net zero emissions and by when. It's really not going to be an easy thing to do, but there's a real opportunity for us to make change and significantly reduce our emissions across the university.
We're making some really good changes, and I think that actually the silver lining of this pandemic is that things have accelerated, I guess, a bit more because everyone's working on teams. There's a lot of collaborations between the student union and the university, and obviously different departments within the university as well. So I think that, that's a little silver lining from the pandemic. We've heard a bit about the Sea Change campaign, and we've seen its logo around and about. For those that, for instance, aren't familiar with the Sea Change campaign, can you tell us a bit more about it?
Yeah, definitely. So this is kind of one of the main areas that I work on or have worked on. And Sea Change is our sustainability engagement campaign. And we kind of think of it as our brand for sustainability and our work from the team. So when you see the orange logos and posters, it's a Sea Change and sustainability campaign. We've been a bit quiet recently because we haven't been able to do our usual on-campus events such as free bike checks. We have a smoothie bike, which is a static bike. You jump on it and pedal and it makes yourself a smoothie. And we've also got a big switch off challenge game, and we bring those out on campus to get students and staff engaged in sustainability messages. Of course, we haven't been able to do that over the last 12 months. But we still have an online presence through our web pages and social media where we share lots of positive sustainability stories and have lots of information on different aspects of sustainability. One of the places when you are on campus that you might see our Sea Change branding the most is on our waste and recycling bins, because that's got all the Sea Change logos and branding on there. So that's what you should look out for.
So Lucy, and finally, what things do you think that students can be more sustainable about, both at home and on campus, when hopefully we do return back to campus?
Yeah, absolutely. I really hope that it's going to be soon. We'll see what happens the rest of this year. There's lots of small things everybody can do which collectively make a big impact. Whether you're at home or living at uni or popping out and making a short journey, consider if you can do it by foot or bike. It's not only really good for the environment, but your mental health and well-being too, and particularly the last 12 months we know the importance of that. Another thing around waste is follow the recycling wherever you are, whether that's at home or on campus. Think about what you buy and whether you can reduce waste or if it can be reused or recycled. For example, my council where I live stopped collecting cartons, and now I buy things like chopped tomatoes and passata in tins and jars, not cartons. For a while I saved them thinking I will be able to find someone to recycle them, but I couldn't. And actually making sure that what you purchase can be recycled where you are is one of the easiest ways of doing it. And one of my biggest swaps was changing my cat food from the single-use plastic pouches to tins, and Alfie doesn't seem too fussed. So that actually has reduced the waste that I produce quite considerably. Also think about how you can cut down energy use by switching things off, appliances and lights. If you've got a thermostat for your heating, turn it down by 1 degree to make savings there. On our Sea Change social media, we've shared a working from home graphic, which has these tips and a few others as well. So check that out afterwards. When we're able to return to campus and travel again is something that you can think about, and travelling sustainably where possible. We have lots of information on our Sea Change pages about discounts, for example, on buses and trains, which students can take advantage of. And car sharing might be an option and will save you money, and lots of facilities for active travel on the campuses for those walking or cycling or skating in, or whichever way you want to come in. And also on the food waste issue, one of the things you can do to reduce food waste, both at home or when back at uni and living in halls and shared housing, is planning meals, saving leftovers, and cooking with friends is a great way to reduce waste because you're not all individually buying things, but doing things together. And kind of what you alluded to at the beginning when you introduced is we're going to see a big increase of single-use items, and we have seen that over the pandemic, and particularly for food. So stop and think about how you're buying food. If you're eating in, use crockery, use plates and knives and forks, and don't use the single-use items if you're eating in. And that will help reduce the amount of waste that's being produced. And it's also really nice to sit and enjoy your food, especially if you haven't seen friends for a while. When we get back to campus, sit and enjoy that time with your friends. Haven't seen them, sit down and enjoy a coffee in a mug rather than a takeaway cup. And I know it's going to fill up your bag, but if you can bring a reusable cup, bottle and bag, that's a really good way for avoiding single-use items, though I know you can soon get loaded up with all those things. But if you know that you're someone who has hot drinks, bring your reusable cup with you. And at the university, you'll also save yourself 30p because single-use cups are charged at 30p.
And you can imagine with that 30p, if someone's having a hot drink, 5 times a day, Monday to Friday, you can imagine it will accumulate over a couple of weeks. So you are saving a small amount. And that always helps. One thing as well, as a students' union, we understand that obviously it takes a bit of time to build a habit. And so what we're trying to do this month with Green Week and raising awareness around sustainability is relaunch our sustainability challenge, where you can take part in an activity once a day and basically just try to incorporate different elements of sustainable practices in your life. Just become a bit more mindful of what you're eating and where you're eating and how you're eating, where you're throwing your waste, etc. And hopefully by doing that, we can start building that momentum that I mentioned. We can start having that conversation again as we, move away perhaps from, the hard aspects of a pandemic. And as we've got a vaccine rollout now, we can hopefully start to reconsider what we need to do to make sure that we are combating the climate emergency as much as possible. Lucy, you've been an absolute star. Thank you so much for taking the time to really, show face. I know it's really difficult and sometimes daunting to be in front of a camera, even though we've been doing it for so long. But as ever, if you guys ever want to reach out to Lucy, you can email her. I'll pop her email and just a little description about her work if you've missed it below. And also, if you don't want to necessarily, go straight to the university, but you want maybe your student representatives to, raise a particular issue, then please email us as always on hellobsu@brighton.ac.uk, or you can personally reach out to me at bsupresident@brighton.ac.uk. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast, and stay tuned for more.